We have a couple of things to talk about very, very simply, in its simple order. Nothing deep, very troublesome, but nonetheless, very, very simple. Let me ask you, or say to you, I should say, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for joining our evening soiree. I appreciate it immensely. But just to give you a couple of things and bring you up to speed, which should, I think, scare you to no end. Number one, masks, it appears to everyone, I'm hearing this more and more and more, masks are coming back. Now, we don't know when. This might be just rumors. People are talking about leaked information from the TSA, but we're hearing more and more about it. So keep in mind whether this actually pans out or not. We don't know. It will come back one day. And you know it, and I know it. And you are going to have to ask yourself, what do you think you should do? What will we do in the event and when that happens? Very simply put, it's coming. It's happening. What are you going to do? Are you going to get into fights? Are you going to what? What? It's coming. I don't know if there's going to be any further mandatory immunization and vaccination. Don't know anything about that. But in the event it happens, again, you're going to ask yourself, where are we? What are we going to do? What are you going to do? And we have not resolved anything. The courts have not answered the question of whether people can claim religious exemption, whether they can claim whatever. They can't do this. They cannot claim, or they cannot, well, at least we don't know. Because Jacobson, the Supreme Court case from 1905, doesn't hold any water anymore. I mean, it's still good law, but we don't know that. So just think about that. Next, there was a story we did. You'll see later on if you follow the channel. I hope you subscribe. Please, I can only ask you do this enough. I hope you do this. Please, I beg of you to subscribe to the channel. But if you do, and if you also sign up, hit that little bell to be notified of new videos and live streams and the like. There is a brand new issue that the AMA is specifically requesting. It is suggesting that taxpayers fund and taxpayers involve themselves in paying for transuterine transplants. Not transuterine, transplants. Uterine transplants of biological men. Let me say this again. The AMA is suggesting that it thinks it's a good idea to have taxpayers fund, in addition to funding the proxy war against Russia and the like, to fund this is important, transplants, uterine transplants for biological men. Not people with hormonal or chromosomal, no, biological men. You understand that? Biological men. The AMA. Think about that. Just let that one kind of sink in. Biological men. Men. A man says, oh, by the way, 300,000. Hard to say. May it work, may not work. I guess you have this, I don't know if it works. I don't know if Menzies is capable. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what the purpose of it is, but that's coming. And then we had a story, which I wanted to share with you, which is very important. And this is something which is very, very critical. A woman by the name of Professor Sarah Harper from the Oxford Institute of Population and and the World Economic Forum, you know all about the World Economic Forum, I'm sure you do. She is suggesting that population collapse is good for the planet. Did you hear what I said? Population is good. And it is wonderful. Just think about how this thing works. Think about how this thing works. This is, I guess you might want to say, the idea that, and this is important, this goes back to something which we've talked about forever. And it's something that deals with Malthus and Bentham and a host of other folks who is so, this is so critical. They have believed, and by the way, Ehrlich in fairly recent times, but they believe, this is important, they believe that this country, that the world, that population, depopulation is somehow injurious to everything. They believe that, and they never say depopulation per se, but following Malthus, Bentham, and the like, they actually advocate this kind of thinking. Just think about that. Think about that. And they say it with a straight face. Population collapse is good. And please, if you read on, if you read into it more, explains how this is good because it causes folks to, from larger companies to use less and everything else. You got that? Now, some other good news. Not good news. That's terrible news. Let me see. Transuterine, WEF. Oh, and also, more than ever, and we've talked about this earlier before, but more than ever, I am seeing nothing but a reference, a continued reference from so many people who are saying in so many instances, in so many occasions, that there's something is very, very wrong with the weather, what they're seeing. We have friends in California who are without, they've never seen this. Hurricanes off of California? What? Nothing makes sense anymore. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are some of us who jump to all types of suggestions of weaponry and the like. But what I'm seeing is so, I'm bombarded. World Economic Forum, folks in depopulation, which is kind of what they're saying in a weird way. The AMA, the once august, the once heralded organization, actually asking for us to pay for uterine transplants. It boggles my mind. Uterine transplants. In men, not the psychological damage and the hormonal problem of permanent incontinence and everything involving whatever it is, but just think, not regular medical care and concerns. No, uterine transplant. But it just blows my mind. Absolutely. I don't know what I don't even know. And nobody's reacting. The doctors aren't reacting. Some people can't even afford regular health care. I mean, I think we should put the money in giving people colonoscopies who need it, or breast, mammography. What are we talking about? $300,000 for something that is. There are people who can't even get certain drugs because their insurance won't allow it or what have you. It's just, I'm telling you right now. And we have a president, and we have a country, and we have a a cesspool of conventional media types who are doing absolutely nothing. Think about that. It is who we are right now. So what I'm going to do, dear friends, is I'm going to have you think of these things. Please ask you to follow us. Thank you. I have to terminate a little early our discussion this eve. Thanking you for being with us. Thanking you for being a part of this. Thanking you for being with us as we always are. Let me also remind you that for those who are and who have subscribed to the private channel, the topics today were the Oval Office squatter, because I look at Biden as a squatter. Sells off the border wall parts to subvert and avoid GOP push to use them to protect our borders. I also did one on taxpayer subsidization for uterus transplants. I went into much greater detail. And also slavery by consent, enjoying your captivity, and the deprivation of liberty. And how the left, and some might say the left, and those individuals who are involved in, I guess you might want to say, the intellectual pursuits of college and the like, why do they get along so well with globalists? What's that all about? So I discussed that. And if you're interested, you know exactly where you can sign up for that. It's one of those things which I appreciate immensely, because as you know, it's one of those things where they don't like us to go too much into detail. All right. Let me also tell you, our dear friends have always been with us at mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. Don't forget, or call them at 800-645-4965 and see how fast Mike Lindell answers the phone. In any event, my dear friends, thank you so much. Sorry for the truncated show, but I have interesting things I must do. Not that this isn't interesting. We will talk tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., same bad time, same bad channel. So don't forget this, my friend. Remember, as we always end with this valedictory, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya.